Inheritance in Java. So we are going to discuss this concept in today's session. We know that Java is object oriented programming language. So one of the features called polymorphism, you have something called polymorphism, and you also have another concept called inheritance, which is one of the major features of object oriented programming concepts, not just in Java, any object oriented programming language. So because Java is an object oriented programming language, so even Java also implements inheritance. So what is this inheritance means? As you know, the classes, how you can access the members of a class outside the class using objects, and how you can access different types of variables, whether they are qualified as private, public, protected, default public, right? So all these access specifiers. Inheritance in Java is one of the features of object-oriented programming language. So Java, because it is a object-oriented programming language, inheritance will be used in Java programming also. So what is this inheritance? How is it related to classes and objects that we were using in our programs till now? So inheritance as the general meaning. So we can interpret this inheritance as parents will inherit their properties to their children, and again children will inherit their properties to their children, right? So just like that, even we can have classes also in our Java programs inheriting properties from one another, right? So what do you mean by properties, and what how they'll be inherited to another classes? We need to know that. So property is nothing but members of a class. So instead of using the term properties, we can use the term members of a class. As you know, classes will have two types of members, data members, and the other one is member functions or methods. So data members are variables, all types of variables, instance variables, static variables, right? And then methods means all the methods that we define which perform operations on the data. So all these members, both these two types of members, data members and methods, can be inherited from one class to another. So in this process, when you inherit one members of one class to another class, the process of doing it is called as inheritance, and the class which will give its members to another class by inheriting them is called as the superclass, and the class which gets the members of other class is called as subclass. Okay, so what is inheritance? Inheritance can be defined as so this can be the definition of inheritance. The process in which one class acquires members of another class is called inheritance. So what do you mean by acquiring? Say for example, there is a class called A, and if this class is giving its members to another class, say B, so that means B is acquiring members of class A. Class B is acquiring members of class A. What do you mean by acquiring? A may have some instance variables and methods, right? So all those members will also become members of class B automatically. So all those members that you defined in class A will automatically become members of class B also if you use the concept of inheritance and inherit all the members of class A to class B, right? So then here in this case, A is called as superclass. A is called as superclass. And B is called as subclass. Okay, so in this process again, B may have its own exclusive members. B may have its own exclusive members also. Apart from those members that the B class will acquire from class A, it may also have its own members. So this is just like children acquiring some properties or features from parents. Apart from the features that they acquire from the parents, they may also have their own features, right? So in the same way, when class B acquires members from class A, the class B will not have only the members that it acquired from class A. It will also have its own exclusive members which are not part of class A. Okay, so in that way class B is going to have is more than or bigger than class A. Along with the members of class A, class B will have additionally some more members also. So B class will have more number of members when compared with class A. Okay, so now that you understood what is superclass and subclass, um, you need to know how to create a subclass from an existing class, right? So before that, let me also tell you different forms of inheritance in Java. That means in how many ways you can implement this inheritance in your Java programming. So generally, when you learn C++ or any other object-oriented programming languages other than Java, even in Python also, there are 5 types of inheritance they'll mention, like simple or single inheritance. So we can implement this inheritance concept in Java programming or any other object oriented programming in 5 different ways. The first one is simple inheritance. The first way is called as simple or single inheritance. Second one is hierarchical inheritance. Third one is multiple inheritance. Fourth one is multi-level inheritance. And last one, fifth one is hybrid inheritance. But coming to Java, this multiple inheritance, the third way, this is not supported in Java. So that means we cannot use this inheritance in Java. We can use single or simple inheritance. We can use hierarchical inheritance, and we can also use multi-level inheritance. But coming to hybrid inheritance, to some extent we can use it, because hybrid inheritance is a combination of any of these four remaining inheritance concepts. It's a mixture of the remaining four inheritances. So again, when you say it is a mixture, if that mixture contains multiple, then that will also not be supported. So you can form hybrid inheritance combining multi-level, hierarchical, or single inheritance. But you cannot get hybrid inheritance by combining multiple and multi-level or multiple and hierarchical inheritance. Okay, so what are these simple single inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, multiple inheritance, multi-level inheritance, hybrid inheritance? Let us first discuss about them briefly, and then go back to how we have to create a subclass in a Java program. Okay, so now coming to single inheritance or simple inheritance, there will be only one superclass and one subclass. So when you implement this type of inheritance, the number of superclasses in your program will be only one, and the number of subclass in your program also will be only one. So then we say it is a simple inheritance or single inheritance. Okay. Then coming to hierarchical inheritance, uh, you'll have one superclass, but there will be multiple subclasses. That means what? For example, in the example that we mentioned here, A gives its members to B. That means B is acquiring members of class A. That can be taken as a example of single or simple inheritance, the first type. So there is one superclass called A, and there is one subclass called B. So that means totally altogether you have two classes, out of which one of them is a superclass, the other one is a subclass. So how many superclasses and how many subclasses will be there in that example? A is the only superclass and B is the only subclass. So totally one superclass and one subclass. But if if you want to implement hierarchical inheritance, then you can create uh, another subclass for A. So that means I can have another subclass like C here. So that means C also will acquire members of class A. Just like B acquired all the members of class A, C also can acquire members of class A. So now how many super classes are there? A is the only superclass. But coming to subclasses, B is one subclass and C is another subclass. So in that way you can have any number of subclasses, but there must be only one superclass. There cannot be more than one superclass. So that's why it is clearly mentioned here, one superclass and multiple subclasses. Multiple means it can be 2, 3, 4, anything, any number. So this is now an example of hierarchical inheritance, right? Then coming to multiple inheritance, anyhow will not be implementing this multiple inheritance in Java, because Java does not support multiple inheritance. So coming to multiple inheritance, so there will be multiple superclasses and one subclass. That means it is reverse of hierarchical inheritance. Okay, so you can have a subclass B, and instead of acquiring properties from A, B also can acquire properties from other class, say C also. So now how many superclasses are there? A is a superclass for B, and similarly C is also another superclass for B. So in this example, if you observe, B is the only subclass. That means there is only one subclass. But coming to superclasses, A is one superclass and C is also another superclass. In that way, you can have any number of superclasses, but there must be only one subclass. Even you can have a D like this, and then this also inherits its properties to class B. So that means single class B is acquiring members of three different classes A, C and D, right? So this concept is called as multiple inheritance, but this uh, way of inheriting members from multiple classes to a single class is not supported in Java. You cannot do it. Even if you try to write the program, uh, you will not be able to run the program, compile and run the program. Okay, but the functionality that we get from this multiple inheritance, it can be achieved using another concept in Java, nothing but called interfaces. So we will see another concept called interfaces after packages. So, or along with packages itself, we are going to learn interfaces. Then using that interface, we can implement this functionality that we are going to lose because of no support in Java for multiple inheritance. But we should not lose that functionality. So that functionality you can achieve it using interfaces concept in Java. So as of now, we are not going to discuss about this multiple inheritance, right? Then coming to multi-level inheritance. Multi-level inheritance means the inheritance will be at different levels. So in multi-level inheritance, there will be multiple superclasses and multiple subclasses. But all these multiple superclasses and multiple subclasses will be at different levels. So this point at the end at different levels is very important. So at each level there can be only one superclass or one subclass. There cannot be multiple superclasses at a single level or multiple subclasses at a single level. So what do you mean by level means? So in this simple example where A is inheriting its members to class B, we can say A is at level 1 and B is at level 2, right? Then we have seen examples where we have used this multiple inheritance concept, right? A is acquiring, B is acquiring members from A, C as well as D, that is multiple classes. So you can say B is at level 2 and A, C, D are at level 1. All the three classes are at level 1. That means there are multiple classes at single level, and those multiple classes are super classes. So that cannot be interpreted as multi-level inheritance. In multi-level inheritance, at each level there will be only one class. There can be only one class. So if you want to create one more level, what you can do is at level 1 A is there, at level 1 B is there. So you can take to next level like this and create another class C. So what is the meaning of this means? B is acquiring members from class A and C is in turn acquiring members of class B. So that means what? C will have both the members of class A as well as class B. So now here A is a superclass for B and B is a subclass for A. And again B is another superclass for C and C is subclass for B. So A is at level 1, B is at level 2 and C is at level 3. So at each level there will be only one class. There will not be more than one class, right? And if you consider the number of superclasses overall at all the levels, A is one superclass and B is another superclass. How many superclasses are there? Multiple superclasses are there. Then similarly, when you take B and C, B is a subclass for A, right? So you can consider B also as a subclass also, and C is another subclass for B. So altogether at different levels you have two different subclasses and two different superclasses. So that is what we mentioned here: multiple superclasses and multiple subclasses but at different levels. Okay, so this is called as multi-level inheritance. And coming to the last one, hybrid inheritance, you can combine any types of inheritance together to form hybrid inheritance. The name hybrid itself means what? Combination of two or more types. So the remaining four inheritances that we have seen till now, the first four, you can combine them into different forms and get a hybrid inheritance, right? But that should not involve multiple inheritance. Even though you can combine different types of inheritance to get a hybrid inheritance, you cannot use multiple inheritance at all, because Java does not support multiple inheritance at any level. So you can combine hierarchical and multi-level, you can combine single and hierarchical, or you can combine single or multi-level, but you cannot combine multi-level with any of the other three inheritance to form hybrid inheritance. Okay, fine. So this is about different forms of inheritance. So now that you understood what is inheritance theoretically and different forms of inheritance that exist in Java. So in Java, we need to consider only four types of inheritance, uh, excluding the multiple inheritance, right? So now we'll see how to uh, create a subclass and how to make a class as superclass and subclass. So what is the syntax that we need to use for it? To create a subclass for an existing class, the syntax is, so whichever class you want to make as subclass for an existing class, so define that class this way using the same syntax that you use for creating a class. Say now class B, or you can say I'll write here subclass name. In general I'm writing subclass name, right? So this is how you define an ordinary class without inheritance. Class followed by class name. But here I'm giving the name as subclass name because I'm using the concept of inheritance. So if this is going to be a subclass, to which class it is going to be a subclass? There must be a superclass, right? For which this is going to be a subclass. So after giving the name for the subclass, you give a space and use the keyword extends. So extends is a keyword in Java which is used to inherit members of one class to another class, right? So subclass name extends superclass name. So this is the syntax for creating a subclass for any existing class. So that existing class will be nothing but the superclass, and the new class that you are going to create by extending the existing superclass, that is called as subclass. So the subclass name must be here, followed by extends keyword, then another followed by it superclass name keyword. Sorry, superclass name, right? So let me show you an example, then you'll understand furthermore in detail. So now look at this program. I'm creating a class called A. So this I am making this as a superclass. To make it a superclass, you need not do anything. Simply create that class. That's it. As usual, as you have done till now, how you're creating a class. So create that class as it is. Right? You need not do anything extra for making it a superclass. Only thing that you need to do extra is when you create a subclass, not when you create a superclass, right? And when this class A will become a superclass only when some other class B extends this class A. So if you look at this class B, see how I am defining. The name of the class is B, followed by extends keyword, and followed by to which class I want to make this B as subclass, that class name is A. So now because you have defined this class B by extending class A, So class A will become a superclass. If you don't define this class this way, then it will not be a superclass. If I remove this extends A, will it be a superclass? It will not be a superclass. It is normally a simple class. So there is no relationship between class A and class B. But whenever I use this keyword here, so the relationship establishes between class B and class A. B is the subclass or the child class in general terminology, and A is the superclass, and in general terminology you can call it as a parent class. But Java doesn't use that general terminology as parent and child class. Instead, it will use superclass and subclass terminology. So never ever try to use that terminology parent child anywhere, wherever you go. If you are asked about some questions in this concept in any interview or somewhere, so don't ever use parent and child term. So use the term super and subclass only. But for making them understand, you can use those general terms when you are introducing them about this concept. But anywhere else, you should not use that terminology. Okay. So now that you understood what is the syntax and how to make a class, a subclass for another existing class, let us see uh, what is the class A having, that is how many members are there in class A and how many members are there in class B. So coming to class A, the superclass, it has two instance variables A and B of type integer, and then two methods read AB and display AB. Both their return types are void. Read AB method receives two integer parameters, uh, int x and int y, and those values are assigned to A and B instance variables respectively in read AB method. Coming to display AB method, as the name indicates, display, it will display the values of A and B on the screen. So it doesn't have any parameters. So these are the members of class A, that is the superclass, two instance variables and two methods. Coming to class B, because you are using this keyword extends and extending the class A, automatically all these members that are there in class C, that is the two instance variables A, B, and two methods read AB and display AB, will also become members of class B. You need not redefine them in class B again. Automatically, by using this keyword extends, they'll also become the members of class B, right? Then additionally, whatever members you want to add to class B apart from members of class A, those members you need to define them in class B definition. So apart from A, B instance variables, I want to have additionally C. So I'm creating this instance variable C here. So the total number of instance variables in class B now will be 3, A, B and C, where A, B are inherited from class A and C is the exclusive member of class B. Okay. Then coming to the methods, apart from the methods read AB and display AB that are acquired from class A, this class B has its own two members, two methods, read ABC, display ABC, read ABC and display ABC. So read ABC method receives three integer parameters x, y, z. So using which you are going to initialize A, B and C, where A and B are acquired from class A and C is exclusive member of class B. So to initialize these three instance variables, we are passing three integer parameters to this read ABC method. Then display ABC will display all the three instance variables ABC values. So AB will be acquired from class A and C is exclusive member of class B. So all those three instance variables values are displayed using this system.out.println statement in display ABC method, right? So now that we have created a superclass and subclass, so how to access these members? You can create object for class A or even for class B. But what is the difference between creating an object for class A and creating an object for class B means, if you create an object for class A, you can only access these four members, that is instance variables AB, methods read AB and display AB. Only these four members you can access. But if you create an object for class B along with those four members, these three members additionally, that is instance variable c additionally, and read abc and display abc methods additionally. Altogether 2 plus 2 4 methods, and 2 plus 1 3 instance variables will be members of class b. So totally the class b will have 7 members, out of which 3 are instance variables, namely a, b and c, and 4 are methods, out of which read ab and display ab are from a, and read abc and display abc are from class b exclusively. So altogether 7 members. Okay, so if you create an object for class b, you can access all these 7 members, but if you create an object for class a, you can only access only the 4 members which are there in class a, right? So let us see now. I'm creating a class called inherit behind below all these two classes, where I'm defining main method. So look at how I'm creating objects. I'm creating objects for both superclass as well as subclass. For class A, I'm creating an object called obj1. So this is a superclass object. It is mentioned in the comment here, you can see. Then for class B, which is a subclass, I'm creating an object called obj2. So it is mentioned for this one also in the comment as subclass object, right? So now using obj1, I can access only the members of class A, but using obj2, I can access both the members of class A as well as class B, as discussed earlier. So now let us see how we are accessing these values, these members. So using obj1, which is an object for class A, I am accessing read ab. So this will not have any problem. You can access it because obj1 is an object for class A and read ab is a member of class A. So I am passing 10 comma 20 because read ab receives two integer parameters. I am passing 10 comma 20. So this is a valid statement. And next, obj1 dot display ab. So this method is defined in class A, so I can access it using the object of class A obj1. So this is also a valid statement. So this will display the values of A and B, that is 10 and 20. Then using obj2, I'm calling read ab method. Actually read ab is a method of class A, but I can access it using class B object because class B is a subclass and class B will have members of both class A and as well as class B together. So I'm passing 30 comma 40. So I can, this is also a valid statement. Then display AB is also a valid statement, calling display AB, because you can access members of class A using subclass class B object. And then obj2 dot read abc, which is a exclusive member of class B, so that also I can access because obj2 is a object of class B which receives three parameters 10 20 30. And then display abc, uh, so this is going to call the display abc method of class B. So this is also a valid statement. So all these statements that we have written in making a call to all the methods read ab, read display ab, read ab, read abc and display abc are all valid statements. Okay, so when you run this program, your program will work without any problem because we are accessing all the members within our limits only. So let us see by running this program. See, So first you are making a call to display AB method of class A using object of class A, so that will work. That will display A value 10 and B value 20. Then after that you are making a call to uh, read display AB method using object of class B, so that will also work. You are passing 30 and 40 as parameters, so their values will be displayed as 30 and 40. But when you call display ABC method of class B, you are passing 10, 20, 30 as parameters, so uh, the it will be displaying A value 10, B value 20 and C value 30. So how this will work? First you are making a call to read AB method using obj1 and you are passing 10 comma 20. So in super class read AB 10 and 20 will be passed, so X will have 10 and Y will have 20. So that 10 and 20 are assigned to A and B respectively. So after that what you are doing, you are making a call to display AB method. So this display AB method uh, will be called, but before this display AB method we have already called read AB method, which is initializing A and B with 10 and 20. So this will display 10 and 20 values. So that is why you are getting in the output A is equal to 10 and B is equal to 20, right? Then after that you are calling read AB method using obj2, that means class B object. So that is permitted and you are passing 30, 40. So in class A read AB method will be passed with 30 and 40 respectively, which will be stored in X and Y, and that X and Y are assigned to A and B respectively. So A will have now 30 and B will have 40 as far as obj2 is concerned. Earlier we called it using obj1, right? Now we are calling it using obj2. So now their values will be 30 and 40 respectively. And when after this what you're doing, you are making a call to display AB method using obj2. So what is display AB going to display? Before this you have called read ABC and initialized A and B to 30, 40. So now this will display 30 and 40 as values of A and B. So that is why in the second line of the output you are getting A is equal to 30 and B is equal to 40. So after that what you are doing, you are calling using object 2 obj2 read ABC method of class B. Earlier you were making call to class A methods, right? Now you are making call to class B methods. So as far as obj2 is concerned, read ABC method means what? Where is it defined? In class B. So this will be called. So you are passing 10, 20, 30. So 10 will be stored in X, 20 in Y, 30 in Z. So these values in turn will be copied into A and B and C. Okay. So these values will be displayed as 10, 20, 30 after when you make a call to display ABC method of class B. So that's why in the third line of the output you have A is 10, B is 20 and C is 30. Okay. But before making a call to display ABC method, if I that means before calling read ABC method, if I make a call to obj display ABC method using obj2, what will be the output? Let us see. After I make a call to read ABC, the A value will be 10, B value 20, C value will be 30. But before I make a call to read ABC, earlier you have used read AB method of A, which initialized A value with 30 and B value with 40, but there is no C value. So if the C value is not initialized, by default the constructor will initialize it to 0, right? So when you display ABC values by calling display ABC method of class object 2, class B's object obj2, it will display AB values as 30, 40, right? It must display, and C value as 0, because we didn't make a call to read ABC method yet. Only when you make a call to read ABC method, then only their values will be assigned as 30, 40, sorry, 10, 20 and 30. But we didn't uh, do this before this statement, right? So here you will not have 10, 20, 30. So let us now compile it and run it again. So before making a call to read ABC method using obj2, obj2 has called read AB method of class A. So what is that read AB method going to do? It is going to initialize only AB values. It is not going to initialize C value. So that's why AB values will be 30, 40. Even though you make a call to that method uh, display ABC using obj2. But C is not initialized, right? Because you didn't call read ABC, you called only read AB method. So C value will not be initialized. But if it is not initialized, the default constructor will anyhow initialize all the instance variables first with zeros. So if you don't even make a call to read AB method, then A and B also will be zeros. But because we made a call to read AB method, A and B are initialized to 30 and 40, but C is not initialized in read AB method, right? We are only initializing A and B values in read AB method, because read AB is a member of superclass A and C is not a member of class A, so it cannot initialize C. But if you make a call to read ABC of class B, then this will initialize all the three instance variables A, B, C. So we didn't make a call to read ABC. First you are making a call to only read AB. So which is initializing A and B with 30, 40. But C will not be initialized. But because C is not initialized, anyhow default constructor will initialize every instance variables of the class to 0. So A and B will have 30, 40 and C will have 0. So that's the reason why when we make a call to display ABC here, it is displaying 30, 40 and 0. But after this statement, again you are making a call to read ABC of class B, which will reinitialize the variable values. Earlier A and B were 30, 40. Now they will be initialized with 10 and 20, and C was 0 by which was initialized by default constructor. Now it will be initialized to 30. So as such, after this statement is called executed, when you execute this statement display ABC, this will display A, B, C values as 10, 20, 30. So that is what you can see in the output. So A value is 30, B value is 40 and C is 0. After that you are making a call to read ABC and then display ABC. So display ABC will initialize, read ABC will reinitialize A value from 30 to 10. That means it will modify from 30 to 10. B value will be modified from 40 to 20. C value 0 to 30. So after that you make a call to display ABC, they will display A 10, B 20, C 30. Okay, so you have any doubts?
No, sir. Clear.
Yeah, okay. So this is what type of inheritance? There is only one superclass here, A, and there is only one subclass B,
Yeah.
right? So this is simple or single inheritance.
Yeah.
So now if you want to implement hierarchical inheritance, then what you need to do?
Create one more subclass
For whom you have to make it subclass?
for super A class, A superclass.
Yeah, exactly.
Ext just
So
create class C extends A. That's it, right?
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
hierarchical
So if
inheritance means,
we don't write extends A,
yeah,
it's not going to be a subclass, right?
yeah, it is not going to be a subclass.
It's going to be another superclass. Like,
Yeah, yes.
oh,
So now you remove this extends keyword here. For example, I'll remove this extends keyword here, extends A. save the program and compile it, then it will generate errors. See,
Yeah.
cannot find symbol, a is equal to x, b is equal to y,
Okay, sir.
right? All these errors you are getting because all those members will not be members of class B. Class B will have
Oh,
only uh, C and that's it, C and read ABC method and display ABC. But you are trying to access A, B here, right? Which are not members of class B, they are only members of class A because you didn't use extends keyword. If you use extends keyword, then they'll become members of class B also. Because you didn't use them, the class A members A and B will remain with A only. They will not be inherited to class B. So class B will not have them. So these statements will generate two errors. Okay. And even when you
okay, sir.
try to make a call to read AB method and display AB method here using obj2 class B object, these two statements also will generate error. And here also in read ABC, when you make a call here also, they will generate error because you are passing three parameters out of which A, B are not members of class B. So there also you'll get an error. And when you access the values of A, B to display them, here also you'll get one more error. So totally altogether you are getting 6 errors, right? Yeah.
సార్
Yeah.
ఇక్కడ ఇన్హెరిటెన్స్ క్లాస్ ఉంది కదా?
Inherit class.
యా, వాట్ యు కాల్ దట్ క్లాస్?
It is normal class. It is not a super class or subclass. It is an ordinary class.
ఓకే.
Okay.
సో
You can.
ఇప్పుడు ఈ
Mm.
నార్మల్ క్లాస్‌నే మనం సూపర్ క్లాస్ కన్సిడర్ చేయలేమా?
You can
లైక్
make it a super class, but what is the use?
ఓకే. జస్ట్ ద రెగ్యులర్
So
కాన్సెప్ట్ విచ్
why
వి డిడ్ బిఫోర్.
yeah, why we are creating inherit class? Because in that we want to create a main method, and there we want to create objects for class A and class B,
ఓకే. సో
right? So that's the reason why
ఓకే.
we are creating this class inherit. Otherwise, we don't require it, right? You can even define this main method in class B itself. If you define it in class B, then you can access all those members without any object,
ఓకే.
right? Because class B will have all the members of class A also.
ఓకే.
So when class B is having main method, that means you are making a call from main method which is in same class B, to call other members of class B. Do you require object to call other members of the same class? You don't require an object, right? Only when you are calling a method or accessing a variable from outside the class, then only you require an object, right? So we are creating objects for class A and class B in main method because main method is an inherit class, whereas read ABC, display ABC, all these methods are defined in other classes, class A and class B. So you cannot access them directly. You require an object, you are creating an object. But if you define this main method in class B itself, let us remove this class inherit and define this main method inside class B. Then to access to call this read ABC method or display ABC method from main method, we don't require any object. Got my point?
యెస్ సార్.
Right? But if you define the
అండర్‌స్టూడ్.
main method in class A, you can call read AB and display AB, and you can access AB values directly without an object. But to call the members of class B, that is C, read ABC method and display ABC method, you require an object for that. Okay, you require an object for them because class A will not have C and these two methods, right? These are exclusive to class B.
ఓకే సార్.
So you cannot call these or you cannot access these members from class A without an object. From class B you can access all the members of class A as well as class B without an object, because class B is going to have both the members of class A as well as class B together, right? So that's why if you define main method in class B, then you can access all the members without an object. But there is no meaning in defining that main method in the superclass or subclass. We'll never do that,
Okay.
right? Uh, so one more thing. mm, if you define the main method in class B, then you have to save this file as b.java. If you are defining main method in class A, then you have to save this file as a.java, because the rule in Java programming is, in whichever class, if there are multiple classes in your program, whichever class has the main method, that class name must be given as the file name, right? Because the main method I have defined it in inherit class, I need to save this file as inherit.java. So that is what we have done. And now if you remove this inherit class and define this main method inside class B, then you have to save this file as b.java. Instead of that, if you write this main method inside class C, then you need to save this as a.java. But we'll not be doing that way. If you define the main method in any of the superclass or subclass, there is no meaning of meaningful implementation of inheritance concept. Only when you create superclasses and subclasses and then create a main method in other than these super and subclasses in an exclusive class, then only the real meaning of inheritance will be reflected in your program. So always create as many subclasses as you want, as many superclasses as you want, using any of the four forms of inheritance: hybrid inheritance or hierarchical inheritance, multi-level inheritance or simple inheritance. Whatever form you use, you can create any number of classes. But to access the members of those class, create an exclusive class which is neither a subclass nor a superclass, and in that you create the main method and then create objects for all the rest of the classes from this main method and access them. Okay, understood, right?
Okay, sir.
So now that you understood how to create a subclass, superclass and all, so will you try to create a implement hierarchical inheritance and multi-level
Yeah.
inheritance?
Okay, sir.
So tomorrow,
Multi-level, multiple. Okay, multi-level.
multiple is not supported, multi-level is supported in Java.
Okay, so when for multi-level, um, for class B, extend of A, and for class C, extend of B.
Yeah,
At
that
all.
is how you need to
Okay.
create. You need to create a
Okay.
class like this here. Class
Okay, sir.
C extends
B.
B,
Okay, sir. Got it.
right? So that is
Okay,
how
sir.
you need to create. So we'll meet tomorrow. We'll see the programs that you write tomorrow and discuss them and go further ahead.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Okay, bye.
Bye, sir.